person in my early 20s, and I struggle with practicing the basics of the deed. I don't pray Fajr on time a lot of times, and sometimes I feel lazy to pray. When Ramadan comes, I only fast just for the sake of doing it, and I don't really do it passionately. Is there something wrong with me? How can I improve myself?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah, wa ba'd. This is a very good question. And in short, the issue at hand, and we've all suffered from this, is du'ful iman, weakness of faith. Weakness of faith, and we've all suffered from this weakness of faith to where we get to a point to where we feel like we're doing acts of worship for Allah just out of force to do so. We're doing it just because we know we're supposed to do it. There's very little heart and soul behind it. And this comes from the iman becoming weak. And everyone suffers from this at some point. The Prophet ﷺ explained this when there was a companion named Handala radiallahu anh. He met Abu Bakr radiallahu anh one day in the streets of Medina, and Abu Bakr said to him, "Salamu alayka Handala." And Handala responded back, "Stay away from me, nafaqa Handala. I've become a hypocrite. I've become a hypocrite." And Abu Bakr said to him, what makes you think that you've become a hypocrite? And he said, "When I'm with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my iman is so high that when he speaks about paradise and hellfire, it's as if I can see it and feel it. But then when I go home to my family and I spend too much time with them, I don't feel that anymore. So my faith comes and goes, so therefore I'm a hypocrite." And Abu Bakr said, "If you're a hypocrite, I'm a hypocrite, because I've suffered from the same thing." So they went to the Prophet ﷺ and told him, and he actually smiled at them and kind of laughed at them and chuckled and said, "This is nothing. This is not an issue, because iman rises and iman falls. Iman comes up and iman goes down." He said, "If you were like you are with me all the time, your faith was so high that you felt paradise and hellfire all the time, then angels would leave the heavens and come and shake your hands and give you glad tidings of paradise." He said, "But it's not like that. Iman rises and iman falls." Brothers, our faith and sisters is like a muscle. It's like a muscle. If you don't work out your muscles, if you don't exercise and you were to lay in bed for weeks on end, you would not have the ability and strength to get up. This is what happens to our iman when we do not put it into action and we don't work on it. It becomes too weak for us to be able to even put it into any use. So what I suggest for people who have found themselves in this type of scenario is to come back to the basics of increasing iman. The first thing that I can suggest for you to do, and I can almost guarantee you that if you do this with sincerity, you will find your faith and your desire to practice the acts of Islam increase, is come back to the Book of Allah. Come back to the Book of Allah. Just spend some time reading it. Even if you cannot read Arabic and you don't understand, then find a translation that is good in your language. And sit down with the last few parts of the Quran, the 28th juz, the 29th juz, the 30th juz, and just read them. Spend time contemplating over what's being said. And you will find within those pages reasons for you to want to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the beauty of the religion, is that we have these connections to Allah, and our best connection is Al-Quran, the Book of Allah, because this is Kalamullah. I even was sitting with a scholar in Medina one time, and he said that our only connection in this world to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Quran. And I thought for a moment, I asked him after the lecture, "Ya Shaykh, but is not salah our connection to Allah from the word sila, connection?" He said in response, "What salah are you going to pray that you don't have the Quran in it? What salah are you going to give to Allah that doesn't contain the Book of Allah in it?" And he quoted the hadith that any salah that is devoid of the Book of Allah is invalid. So spend some time reading the Quran. Spend some time contemplating the fact that Allah created you, guided you, gave you this beautiful way of life, and all He's asking for in return is that a portion of your day is given back to Him. A portion of your year is given contemplating and fasting for Him. A portion of your wealth is given in charity. Allah could have asked for it all and asked for us to perpetually worship Him, and we would have no choice in the matter. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been very merciful to us and only asking for a small portion of it. So when you think about those things in terms of what Allah has given you versus what is Allah asking from you to give back to Him, you will see that we're not asked very much at all. Very little we're asked from. So try to spend some time finding a way to bring this faith back. First of all, go back to your Quran. Make dua to Allah to increase your iman. Ask Allah to help you to strengthen your iman. And find those things that are negative in your life. Maybe it's friends that are bringing you to this weakness of iman that you might need to spend some time away from. Maybe it's the TV who's taking you away, spending too much time in it, the games, the football matches, whatever it is. Try to reduce a bit of that in your life. Put a little bit more of worship to Allah, dua to Allah, spending time with the Quran, and I promise you, you'll find that faith increase and your desire to do acts of good. Jazakallahu khairan. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum.